So Cenk's line up until this point has been, no, it's at the collegiate level and above. I think once you get to the college level and above, that's when it's bad. So he would be on board with what the NCAA said recently. But you're so dumb. You're so dumb. I don't even know how to explain it to you anymore. Unless, this is the other option, unless you also are a transphobe.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Unless you also are kind of a misogynist.
Wow.
Unless you also were like, yeah, man, men just kind of like can rock on women. You know what I'm saying? Like they strong and like Messi would score 20,000 points. Like this makes no sense. No one is giving you props. No one is giving. And this is the same person when you go and fucking share a stage with Dr. fucking Phil. What did it get you? Nothing.
Bitch-a-thon.
You know why? Because you look like a bitch. You don't look like a fighter. You don't look smart.
Whoa.
You look like a bitch.
A few moments later.
Recently, Francesca Fiorentini asked us at TYT to take her podcast, Habituation Room, off the network. And we happily agreed to that. And today, I'm going a little further, and I'm going to take Francesca off the network entirely. So you won't see her on any of the TYT shows going forward. She did not stop there. This is now another show. Watch.
So Cenk's line up until this point has been, no, it's at the collegiate level and above. I think once you get to the college level and above, that's when it's bad. So he would be on board with what the NCAA said recently. But you're so dumb. You're so dumb. I don't even know how to explain it to you anymore. Unless, this is the other option, unless you also are a transphobe. You know what I'm saying? Unless you also are kind of a misogynist.
Because if you disagree with Francesca or anyone on that part of the spectrum, well, you must be a misogynist. You must be collaborating with the fascists. And obviously you must be unintelligent. Now, if I had called her dumb, I wonder what her reaction would have been. My guess is nuclear. But I didn't call her that because we have a disagreement. We have a political disagreement. You don't need to make it personal. Not done yet, one last one.
What has it got you? What did it get you? When you go and share a stage with Dr. Phil, what did it get you? Nothing. You know why? Because you look like a bitch. You know what I'm saying? You look like a bitch. That's what it is. Like that's just what it comes down to. You don't look like a fighter.
Yeah.
You don't look smart. You look like a bitch. That's just the reality. I've tried to tell it to you nicely. I've tried to tell it to you cordially. I've tried to tell it to you on your show, on my show, on every show. And so either you A, are a bitch, or B, you actually agree with the right. And I'm starting to think, in fact, I do think.
Stop it there.
Wow.
Hold on. Why is this even a political agreement? We're talking about men and women's sports. But let's continue.
We're talking about men and women's spaces in general.
That should not be a political talking point at all. That is literally common sense.
It's interesting that she's mad that he's engaging with talks with people from the other side and finding mutual agreement, and that's somehow a bad thing.
This is the understandment
this is
that the Lord gave us.
Yeah, this is the problem with the people on the left. It's like, oh, we don't agree with you at all. Like, so like anyone on their side who happens to have something they agree with on the other side is automatically deemed a bad person, and that's just a terrible
This isn't
way
gun
to
rights.
behave.
That's why they lost the election.
Yeah.
This isn't gun rights.
That's why they're gonna keep.
This
losing.
is man and woman. That's why Charlie asked that weird
thing,
guy.
You can have political debate about that. But this is common sense.
That's why Charlie pulled him at the DNC and checked whoever ran up to him, the guy from Georgia, and said, "What is a woman?" And he said, "You're so weird," and ran off.
What is a woman? What do you mean?
Think it's the latter.
Okay.
Good job,
So
Gavin and Cenk.
again, if I had called her that would have been a different situation, right? But look, guys, also on the policy or the strategy, when you go talk to the right wingers, first we did that, and I mainly did that, and there was a lot of blowback saying don't ever talk to the right wing, but they won the popular vote. How are we going to win back the voters if we never talk to them? If we don't win them back, we can't ever win an election. And that doesn't mean the far end of MAGA. It means the independents that voted for Trump and maybe some right-wing populists that voted for Trump. Now I've noticed that faction is now saying, well, I mean, of course we should talk to the right, but we should only yell at them or we should only accost them. That seems like a really productive conversation.
Names.
And if now I guarantee you they'll say, no, I don't mean just yell at them, but just like build coalitions. As Francesca said recently, apparently she's changed her mind about being a collaborator, but not with Trump voters. Well, who would it be if it wasn't Trump voters? Those are the folks on the edge of the middle of the spectrum that we got to bring to our side. We've got to convince them that the populist left is right, not necessarily the populist right, or parts where we agree. Hey, great, let's work together on that. So who are we building coalitions with if it isn't the other side or people who voted in the other direction? And if we talk to them, what are we doing? Only screaming fascists in their face? Or are we having a human conversation? So look, this is not an attitude that I agree with. Again, there are other shows that love what she's saying. And no problem, to each his own, it's a free country. Go and love that and yell and scream and do all the things that you want to do. But do you think that after you do a joint appearance with Dr. Phil or anyone else, that the very next day all of MAGA is going to show up and go, oh, I changed my mind. You're absolutely right. No, this is a gradual process where Americans begin to talk to one another and start to learn about each other. And
I like that we can both be very Mediterranean about it and get like super mad, but then rein it in and be cool and then be like, we're like, yeah, we're just gonna yell and then we're gonna be fine and then we're gonna get over it. So that's the kind of beer I like to have.
Yes. Thank you.
2 days later.
I mean, I have my own thoughts on like why he's doing it. I think, if you think your brain was broken by the 2024 election, I think we're looking at a case where someone's brain was broken even harder.
Wow.
I do think it's sad that even though they allow people like us into the fold and the fray, they refuse to learn from us or listen to us. And I think that when you have been doing this work for so long and you still cannot grasp the idea of intersectionality, how race and gender and class all intertwine with one another, and how the right, the fascist goal is to divide us based on these lines. Like, I don't know like who you are. Like I don't even know if you're smart. You know what I mean? I don't even know. First of all, I don't know who your political mentors are. I don't know who you look up to. I don't know what your touchdones are. I don't know if you know your history in terms of like civil rights, women's rights, gay rights struggle in this country. I don't know anything. I call into question all of that. It sounds like you are just an opportunistic mouthpiece who wants clicks time and time again.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at about
trying to compare black people to trans,
LGBTQ
bro.
Black person right there.
No,
No,
we black.
I won't have it, bro. Exactly.
I can't go for we black, bro.
I'm going for
we ain't with
So
that
you want to
fruity.
be with them?
Hell no, I ain't with that fruity ass shit.
Y'all
can get mad at me if y'all listen to
I
this.
don't identify.
I don't care if somebody be gay. You
It's
could
that.
be gay, but you ain't gonna label a group of people.
I just don't get the like. Okay, a black
Me no
is a
black, me no
skin
black.
color.
Thank you.
Trans. I don't know what that is.
I can't change this. I came out like
It is
this.
a mental disorder.
Yes.
It is a mental illness.
100%.
I'm sorry, it is.
100%.
You say that's transphobic? Whatever. I don't care. I will sleep
Facts.
just as fine. If you are trans, you have a mental illness. Sorry.
Facts.
Hey man,
Why they keep doing
I've
that,
heard
bro?
enough of what she thinks. She's
Trans
obviously
people are like black people.
She's obviously an extremist. I've heard enough of her, honestly.
I think Martin Luther King would roll over in his goddamn grave. He was
No, he
alive.
would, bro.
Whitney, I was finna
And he
disrespect
called us
I was
YNs.
gonna say, man, what a sing really,
He called us YNs because we
what if
don't
he
agree
did
to
that?
this.
If that's why she crashing out right now.
Is she what?
What if sing, but he got a wife called Wendy Lane.
Is that Cenk?
I'm pretty sure.
You trying to say he hit the Harry?
You said, oh yeah.
Yeah, it's Wendy Lane.
Where's he in that picture though?
I don't know, but
Oh yeah, there she go right there.
When you got an Asian wife, you know,
Shout out, Cenk.
you gotta
man.
have a little common sense.
He's a populist. He's
lie
not
to-
a fool.
I just
She married
don't see
two
why
white
people
women.
really
I'm crazy,
believe.
though.
I can't. People really believe that men should be able to play.
Yeah,
with
bro.
women.
Whatever,
That's
bro.
just
Hey,
the most craziest
straight
shit
up. Let's
in
just,
life, bro.
let's
That shit's
just
stupid.
moment of silence for the brother that's sitting right there right now. I can't believe.
His little sassy ass.
Y'all, he tried to get on us, y'all. Look
I
at
can't
him.
believe this guy, man. Just look at him, bro. For real. Like,
Woo! He tried to call us YNs and we got master's degrees.
Yeah, don't
we
disrespect
said we
me.
don't know nothing. We don't know about history. Oh my God, brother.
They don't know about us. They said they just care about clicks. Look at what's behind them. Whatever, brother. Whatever, brother.
We out here, guys. Y'all seen it.
What is the end game for the woke, radical, far left? Where does someone who is so opposed to the norms of society that they are willing to destroy their own lives and livelihood to stand in solidarity with social justice issues that the majority of Americans do not support, while simultaneously claiming to be representatives of and advocates for democracy? Where does a bird go when it has no place to land? Where does a person go when they've alienated everyone, even those who once sympathized with their cause? That is a question that I would like to pose to Francesca Fiorentini, host of the Bituation Room podcast and employee or former employee of Cenk Ughyr's The Young Turks Network. This woman, Francesca Fiorentini, went as far as to thoughtlessly, I have to say thoughtlessly, insult her employer, Cenk Ughyr, because he decided to sit down with Dr. Phil to discuss the current climate of our political theater. Excuse me. This woman decided to melt down and insult her employer, Cenk Ughyr, for having the audacity to sit down with Dr. Phil and discuss our current political climate. How dare he sit down with someone from the other side to discuss areas where they might find some common ground when it comes to fixing our deeply divided nation? How dare you? These liberal lunatics are operating like street gangs at this point. You can't interact with the other side because we don't want you to. No matter how much good or how genuine their outreach is, you have to reject them totally, or you can't be down with us. Check this out. When you watch that, does Francesca Fiorentini come across as someone who is stable? Does Francesca Fiorentini come off as someone who you would want to live next door to? Does she come off as sane, or does she come off as unhinged? Someone who would sacrifice their livelihood, a job that pays them really well, that they've had for, if I got my numbers correctly, all over a decade. She's been working for the Young Turks. Someone who would throw that all away, not because Cenk did anything wrong, not because he committed some type of crime, but because he had the audacity to sit down with someone who, though they may not share the same political beliefs, someone who wants what's best for this country, like I believe Cenk Ughyr does. They sit down and discuss an issue that overwhelmingly Americans agree on, which is a rarity in today's political climate. The issue of whether biological men should be allowed to, or biological males should be allowed to play in female sports is one that I feel this country is united on. Despite a small segment of our country that I don't even truly believe thinks that biological males should be allowed to play in female sports, for the most part, Americans agree that they should be banned. And the people who don't agree, the people who express sentiment like the one you're about to hear next, those people either never played sports or they are so deranged in they're so consumed by their political identity and this idea, this fake false idea of altruism and empathy, that they can't allow themselves to say what they really believe or stand up for what they know to be right. Check this out. Now, does that sound like someone who you would even allow near your children? Does this sound like someone that you would be comfortable standing in front of your children or your child's classroom as a teacher or a guest speaker, impressing their ideas upon your child? You know what you never get to see? You never get to see the moments where these people have to put the woke radical ideology down and just exist within society. These people are either super rich or well off, or they're making really good money, or they're super poor, clinging on to a victim mindset, depending on overgrown government to support them while they go through their psychosis and try to hang on to what little bit of sanity they have left. Francesca Fiorini is not fighting or advocating for anyone. Francesca Fiorentini, I'm so sorry. Francesca Fiorentini is a person who has become obsessed with an ideology to the point where no matter how much you try to reason with her, no matter how much you present her with empirical fact, no matter how much you show her that America democratically majority rule is opposed to the idea of biological males playing in women's sports, she will not accept it. She will fight, she will bite, claw, scratch, do anything she possibly can to keep from having to come to terms with reality. This woman is unstable. She is living in a state of psychosis, and it might be derangement induced, right? It might be induced psychosis. It might be induced derangement. Either way, it is psychosis nonetheless, and it is derangement nonetheless. We need less Francesca Fiorentinis in the world, and we need more people who do not value their ideology more than they value truth, logic, and rational thinking. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. I want your opinion. Am I wrong about Francesca Fiorentini? Is she really just a misunderstood hero in the fight for far left, woke, liberal radicalism? Are we just a bunch of insensitive conservatives who don't care about the struggle of trans people? Let me know what you think. I'll check out your comments, and the ones I like, I'll respond to. Thank you so much for watching this. I appreciate every single thing you do for me and this channel. Until the next time, take care of yourselves, but most importantly, please take care of each other. Peace.